The biggest patch in Off the Grid's history just dropped, and as someone with over 100 hours played over just the past couple of months, I want to go ahead and break down this patch, kind of how I, way back in the day, like to look at videos that broke down the League of Legends patch notes. If you like the content, like and subscribe. I'm going to be bringing you what I think, at least, is the new meta for Off the Grid. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So I want to start this video off by just going very quickly over, well, no, I guess not very quickly, it's a very big patch, over everything that has happened here for the new Off the Grid patch. First, they did some FPS improvements. I have gone ahead and notice that there is a new option in PC with the NVIDIA Reflex. There's more FPS. The game is feeling better in terms of FPS. I'm now with my 4090, which I know, very privileged here. I'm getting over 300. I'm even getting up to 370 FPS on the training grounds, which before I was getting about 270. So some big upgrades in terms of FPS. Great. They added a brand new optic system for weapons. This is a first-person mode. Essentially, they have a new ADS for first person perspective. I know a lot of people, they get confused with this game, call it an FPS. Now it's technically an FPS. I do not like this at all. I do not like how the ADS functions right now in the current state of the game. I'm actually going to be showing you the ADS system and why I personally prefer to play with weapons without the ADS, and why the weapons without ADS will be more than likely better. But even bigger here is probably going to have to be the ranked play that's going to be coming to this game. They're approaching the launch of ranked play mode. They've implemented significant updates to controller settings and introduced a completely revamped aim assist system for a more competitive and refined gameplay experience, which I think is interesting. They've gone ahead, done some updates for controller players. I know controller players were complaining about it, so big update for anybody that plays on controller for the most part. They have a 40% performance increase with a slight trade-off in visual quality. I think that's perfectly fine. Some big upgrades here have to do with the grid shield. During this $600,000 Off the Grid tournament, a lot of people were abusing the grid shield. They were abusing some of the mechanics within the game to just continue to spam revive. Now they've changed it a little bit more. It reduces 50% of the damage to the player when inside the grid instead of offering full protection, which is a huge nerf. The backpack now recharges slowly when not in the grid, which it didn't recharge before. There's a new backpack gauge, and that's just some UX stuff, so we don't really need to worry about that. The soldier backpack, nothing really that's happening here. There's a VFX of a magazine being ejected each time a holstered weapon is reloaded, but, you know, not really the most important update in the world. Also, the redeployment backpack also does the exact same thing it did before, so nothing big there. Here's the huge update here for Off the Grid, and check this out. General weapon balancing and changes. All weapons have undergone a spread reduction at all ranges to promote better shooting accuracy and allow damage fall off to be the defining factor in how quickly you kill players at distances beyond their intended ranges. So some of those weapons that way back in the day, like the shotguns, for example, that would just kill it in long range, they're not doing very well now. It also contributed to the feeling that hit registration was malfunctioning because some of the shots wouldn't make any sense. They've gone ahead and fixed that. But even bigger, I think, has to be the recoil rebalancing to compensate for the new, more accurate shooting mechanics. So if you're actually good at aiming, they've gone ahead and reduced the recoil from everywhere. I mean, you can see here, crouching reduces recoil by 50% for more controllable long-range engagements should you need to use it. So crouching, if you're in a long-range fight, is going to be absolutely crucial in this new update. And other things, there's going to be camera shakes, which have been overhauled. I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. They have weapon sway, which is interesting. It's been increased to have more impact at longer ranges. You may actually have to hold your breath a bit this time. When you were sniping back in the day and you would just be shooting, you'd have to hold down shift to be able to hold your breath and it'd make you more accurate. People didn't care though. I personally wasn't using that feature at all. Now you might actually have to use it, which makes for people to go ahead and shoot slower. Now let's get to the meat and potatoes of this update. They've done some weapon balance changes. Overall, weapons have been adjusted, and across the board, they've been nerfed. Just everything has been nerfed. The Terracon, there's been a small nerf. There's a lot more recoil. As you can see, increased by 150% per round. The Casper here, nerfed. Mavinga, nerfed. M4, just down the list. Nerf. Except LMGs, which have actually been buffed. So while every other weapon class has been nerfed, LMGs have been buffed, and buffed have they been by quite a bit, because their RPM was increased, the multipliers have been increased, the leg damage, everything in between, the drum magazines, etc., have all been increased. The boom slang especially had quite the huge buff, with their RPM increasing to 330. And while, yeah, the base damage was reduced, the increase in RPM absolutely makes up for this nerf and is a huge deal. Now, some of the more meta weapons from the marksman has been the Proton. Proton was very overpowered. We all know that. It got absolutely obliterated. Straight up, it is just hard nerfed. It's not nearly as good as it was before. The Ishnia, also not a very good weapon. They went ahead, did a little bit of a something, but I still don't think it's that great. Tab 9 didn't do much. In terms of the pistols and the sidearms, I haven't noticed anything big enough to really warrant covering this side. I think it's kind of the same old that we've known about the Tab 9 and the Kelowna being a nice secondary if you want to go ahead and use it. Now, in terms of shotguns, they have reduced the damage on shotguns again, which I think is very interesting. I don't really see people using shotguns moving forward because the LMGs will likely be more competitive than shotguns. Also, Flensler sucks. Nobody use Flensers, please. SMGs, we have the AZV, which nerfed. Tacoma, nerfed. Kit, very overpowered, got nerfed. Woodpecker was destroying people like it was no tomorrow. Also nerfed. Sniper rifles, very interesting. They've gone ahead and had their time to reach maximum accuracy reduced by a fair amount, which is interesting, but I'll show you why that doesn't really matter. You have the cyber limbs, which this is a huge deal. Increased projectile speed by 100% on the Javelina during 3 seconds after launch is really strong. Really strong. The Roadrunners, they got nerfed, so now it's going to be a little bit slower. It's not going to feel as good. I actually think we're running into a Leapers meta. I think Roadrunner meta might change into Leapers meta, and I'll show you why. We have Slam Fist over here, which Slam Fist kind of the same old. The Ripper also the same old. Phosphor, I think, is going to be very strong. The Recon drone, decent, but we have Paralyzer meta still. The Trip Mine is going to be absolutely overpowered. The Thumpers, same old. It's a very niche pick. You don't want to always use Thumpers. Hookshot has a little bit of a better feel to it this update more than anything. They've added a tutorial, which we like to see, and that's essentially going to be it. Okay, great. We just covered the entire update. I've just given you the lowdown on it. What do I think is the new meta? Well, what I think is the new meta, just move myself here very quickly, is going to be the Boomslang Hawk. I think the Boomslang Hawk is going to be the meta, which I think could be crazy here because I know a lot of you, this was the meta at all last time. But the Boomslang, it feels good now. It has a very fast time to kill. The Hawk as well. And then for our abilities, we'll be using the Trip Mine, Leapers, Phosphor. And I'll show you why here. I'm actually going to go over to practice here. We'll go to the Cyber Limbs, and I'll actually show you what these guns do. I think it'll be interesting for you to see this. So look at how fast this thing kills. I'm gonna go ahead and aim. Ready? This thing shoots like crazy. It's a kite. It's literally an SMG now. And then this is the boom slang, okay? This is the slower one in case you want to just use a sniper. This thing goes so fast. Okay. So now that I'm showing you the weapons, right? We have Leapers, which are still the exact same as before. You know, they function the same way. We love Leapers. And then, this is the overpowered one. Check this out. So Trip Mine, before there would be a little bit of an animation. There'd be a drop down. Let's say I want to hit this guy over here. That's it.
Victim turned into burning.
Sticks to them. So it's a phosphor that I can pretty much throw instantaneously without any cooldown at all. I think it will be the most overpowered limb of this patch easily. And of course, we still have Phosphor, which check this out. Check what I can do with this. I can instantly use my Phosphors. I can spam them. So you miss one, it's fine, guys. You throw the next one, and just in case you miss the Phosphor, it's fine. Just throw this, and you one-shot people practically. Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting patch, to say the least. And of course, we have Leapers. You're going to want to be up in the air. This patch is going to be very much go up in the air, because at the end of the day, if you're someone that enjoys using scopes on some of these weapons, it is going to be very, very awkward to actually use scopes on this update. There are a couple of people, you know, they went ahead and got scopes and they tried it out, but check this out. Like, I zoom in, it's weird. I'm like on his head and I'm going to the side. It's nowhere near where it's supposed to be. It feels awkward. It has like that little bit of latency, like it goes into my body. It just doesn't feel smooth at all to use. It doesn't feel smooth at all to use the scopes right now. It feels quite uncomfortable, actually. So I don't think I personally am going to be using the scopes on this update because it just doesn't feel right. Like why would I do all this, right? The whole weird animation when I could just go in, crouch, hop up in the air, you know? There's no need to do that. So I think this is going to be another one of those patches where they still need to tune the scopes. They still need to fix them. We'll see where it comes. Of course, this is an enormous update for Off the Grid. That's the breakdown. If you like the content, if you like crypto gaming updates, like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one.